My name is Derek Wolfe. I'm a Super Bowl champion and a 10-year NFL vet. Now, after a decade of professional football, I'm focusing on my other passions. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wolfe Untamed. Today we got a really special guest. He's a good friend of mine, Kip Fulks. He was a co-founder of Under Armour, one of the owners at Origin. He owns a company called Big Truck Farms. They make beer, and this is going to be a really good episode, so hope you like it. Kip, you made it, dude.
Made it.
Finally, man. Thank you so much for coming. We went and crushed a workout. Dude, I'm impressed. You never cease to amaze me. Like, you're just an impressive dude.
Come on, you're gonna make me feel bad. Like,
no, you fucking crushed that workout.
I was like,
guys come out here in this altitude and get fucking crushed, and you finished the workout. You beat me. Like you finished before I was even done.
Well, we finished with abs, so I was like, oh, at least something I can look good at.
No,
man, I would just want to take the time to say thank you, because we've been playing a little cat and mouse, and you know, your schedule, my schedule, and I saw like a Southwest flight. I was like, literally, I can leave at my house at 3 a.m. and I can be back at 10 p.m. Let's do it.
Yeah, and I know your schedule is packed.
I just got kids, work, you know, typical life.
Yeah,
nothing special. Just a lot of going on.
Well, it's just the day to day, right? It gets grindy.
Yeah, you got to pull yourself out and always ask yourself, are you actually working on the stuff that matters, or do you just fill the day and you're like, what did I do today?
What did I get done?
And I'm the same, man. I got to check myself sometimes, but yeah, I'm busy, but I like it that way.
Yeah, I'm gonna just start at the beginning, Kip. I want to start like just to introduce yourself to people.
Yeah, sure.
You know, where you come from, how you grew up, like just to, you know, get through it. And then I want to talk about everything that you've done and what you're doing now. Like that's how we'll run this. And
I mean, it's my dad's a Vietnam vet, military brat, a brother, a sister. I'm the youngest of three. Kind of learning disabilities and ADHD, kind of just had a hard time in school. And when in the military, you're moving. So every 2 years, I'm in a new school. And so like, you're just the kid that can't seem to get anything done. Now you're off to a new school. So
hold on, I want to touch on that real quick, because I dealt with the same shit. I went to 7 different elementary schools.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's like all these schools are on a different schedule, right? So like
there's no teacher that takes an interest in you. Nobody there to help you. There's no administration to be like, oh yeah, he's a great kid. We just need to figure out what's going on with him. They were literally just like, get you to the next school.
Yeah, just get you through the grade, get you to the next one.
And I didn't realize until later in life on how much that impacted me. I mean, when you're young, you're just kind of like Superman trying to get through everything. You know, my parents were all over the place. They got divorced. That was rough.
How old were you?
I was 12, 13.
Yeah, I was 11 when my mom and stepdad divorced. It was hard.
And then I had my high school career in Hawaii, and then I moved back to Northern Virginia. My parents were at the Pentagon, and you know, I fell in love with this sport, lacrosse, and I went to community college outside of Baltimore. I played 2 years at a community college, and then I walked on to play lacrosse at the University of Maryland, and I played 2 years there and had a great time. We lost in the national championship, so we had a nice little run. And I ended up playing pro lax for quite a few years, and that's where I met Kevin Plank, the founder of Under Armour, and you know, 21 years later, I grinded it out at Under Armour, and that's it, man. Now we're sitting here.
I love how you talk about every time I talk to you, you talk about the Under Armour thing. Like, oh yeah, we did Under Armour. And then it's like, no, you didn't just do Under Armour, man. You like fucking made, like that is what you guys were able to do is just incredible. So let's go to that then. Right. So actually I want to go back to Hawaii, because I didn't know you went to high school in Hawaii.
I was a haole. 6 foot, 150 pounds, blonde hair, surfing, getting in fights every day. I mean, I think I had a whole Filipino gang that wanted to beat me up. My brother was a good athlete. I was a good athlete. We kind of earned some stripes. We surfed hard. I don't think I went to school much. And yeah, what a blast. Learned a lot about life, because as a white kid in Hawaii, you're the minority.
Yeah.
And so how you treat people was totally different. And I can understand why the military has a bad rap in Hawaii, because people just come and go and they treat the island like trash and they're only there for a couple years. But some of my best friends, still live there, love the islands, try to get back there as much as I can. I'm a lifetime surfer. I actually look at my life as a surfer, which is really funny to people. I don't surf as much as I used to, but like hunter, dad, outdoorsman, like I actually, when I look in the mirror, I feel like a surfer because that's kind of how I grew up.
Yeah. Well, those years that like when you were like 14 to like 18, that's when you're like figuring out what you really want to do. You know, like you're figuring out like, what am I great at? What am I good at? And for me, it was football. I loved football and hunting, like in wrestling. I was a good wrestler too. So I did that, but I get it. So I understand, like when I look in the mirror, I still see a football player.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's just, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And as you slowly remove yourself from the sport, even though you'll always be attached to it, you'll still look at yourself through those same eyes.
Exactly.
And for me, yeah, surfing, lacrosse.
How did you get into lacrosse? Like
I had a good friend that was playing in middle school. I played 1 year. And then when I came back from Hawaii, I just naturally picked it back up again and, you know, fell in love with the game, like literally fell in love with the game. I never went anywhere without my stick. I wanted to be, some of my heroes were like the Gate brothers, these guys that were unbelievable. And I wanted to play in the national championship. And I started being like, well, what school could I go to? Well, I didn't have really good grades, so I didn't get into any school. So then I was like, oh, I can go to junior college and you can transfer in and they can't say no to you if it's a state-to-state transfer. Yeah, and Maryland is, you know, hotbed for lacrosse and a lot of my buddies. So I fell in love with the sport. I was good. I was fast. I was physical. I didn't have great stick skills. That kind of came later. It's just a fun sport. It's fast. And my son plays and I coach him. And I'm like trying really hard not to be a crazy dad. But my son he has the spark.
Yeah.
Is there better kids? Yes. Is there worse kids? Yes. My kid loves to play. He doesn't complain. He doesn't complain about it.
That's where it starts.
I mean, now I just need to get him to work out and take it a little seriously. But he's 12, and I'm trying not to be like the overbearing dad. But you know,
because you can make him hate it quick.
Yeah, he's pretty savage. I'm impressed with both of my kids. Are impressive.
And that's why I tell people about football. They're like, "Oh, when should I put my son in football?" I'm like, "You got to find out if your kid likes football first, because football's like lacrosse is very similar in the physicality side, you know, because there's a lot of impact going on.
There is.
So if you don't like physicality, which it's not for everybody, and that's fine.
That's okay.
It's just not for you. Yeah. And it's the same with football. Like there'd be these, you know, even these big kids that are like, "Oh, I want my son to play football." I'm like,
does he like it?
Does he like to hit people? Is he violent? Yeah. Like, does he like to be violent? Because if violence is a necessity in football, like you have
for me, it was like an outlet.
Oh, exactly.
That violence was an outlet because I was frustrated. I was probably mad at my parents. I wasn't good at school. So if I could go out on the field and like pound people, beat people, be faster than people, I mean, I really love the sport. I think all sports now have gotten a little over their skis just in terms of the clubs and the pressure. And so I'm really trying to navigate that line and try to take a little bit of an old school approach. He's going to be good or he's not. Doesn't matter what team he plays on. Doesn't matter, you know, of course he has to have great coaches because that's important. But like parents are switching their kids from this club to that club and, oh, he needs to be here and needs to be there. And it's like, does he do plyometrics at home by himself? That's the love of the game. If he's doing it when no one's around.
Exactly. What does he do when no one's
around? Then he'll be good. It doesn't matter what club he's on. Yeah, it's always, of course, you play better when you're with better teammates, but at this age, that's not really the case yet.
No, that's not till like you asked me, like, hey, you know, I'm not letting my son play football, and I'm like, thank you,
yeah,
because he shouldn't be playing till he's like, you honestly should not play football till you're in high school.
Yeah, like, I kind of agree. He wanted to play in middle school, and I just said, hey, let's wait and see how strong.
Unless you're coaching him,
yeah,
then he shouldn't be doing it. Like I just really strongly believe because there's so many bad coaches out there.
You got to trust other people.
That's what I'm saying. You can't trust. When I stepped on I was 6 years old when I started playing football. The first thing that my coach told me, I was like, well, what do you want me to do? He put me at middle linebacker. I was like, what do I do? And he was like, wherever the ball goes, you go. and you put your helmet through his chin. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I was just hitting everything with my head.
Yeah.
So I did that, and that's how they taught me how to play. And it wasn't until and then I get to the NFL, and they're like, hey, you can't hit with your head anymore. And I'm like,
yeah, well, that's
what I was taught to do. And then they said you can't land on the quarterback anymore.
Well, there's a lot of awareness now, but it doesn't seem like the awareness for some of the trauma sports has translated to change.
No, it hasn't changed anything.
You know, so I would like to see the sports like really step up and protect the athletes more, because
and these kids aren't coordinated enough to do it. They're not coordinated enough to
I don't think it's going to change the game. Like there's going to be great games. There's going to be great plays. It's not all about smash people, hurt people. So, I mean, I was an aggressive player. So, I mean, people who are listening to this that know me were probably like, yeah, Kip was kind of a train wreck out there.
Just out there smashing.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, but it has changed it quite a bit. But yeah, that led me to Maryland. And, you know, from there, Maryland kind of, you know, that's where the Under Armour story started.
And how does that start? How does that
We were both fifth-year seniors, like not playing sports.
You and Kevin?
Yep. Kevin Plank, founder. It was his idea. He had this great idea. He started making these prototypes. He started making this tiny little production run in Bel Air, Ohio. And I had a buddy, John Brothers, we call him Monkey. He introduced me to Kevin. He's like, hey, maybe you can help Kevin. And I was like, we met him. He was a cool guy. I was like, this is cool. He gave me a shirt. And I was playing indoor lacrosse at the time. I was playing pro. And I wore the shirt. And I came back the very next day. I was like, dude, how can I get involved? I want to work for you. What can I do? And he's like, well, what can you do? I was like, yeah, I'm not good at anything. Like, I was kind of a mutant, didn't know how to talk to people. I was kind of a loner, introvert. And he's like, well, you can work downstairs and count inventory. I was like, cool. I packed boxes and counted inventory for damn near, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I ran operations, got better at it, hired great people. And he's a natural salesman. So he just took the sales and marketing to another level. And I took over production and manufacturing and, you know, eventually product and product development and innovation. And only later in my career, I got a chance to be the chief marketing officer. So I got to be on the front end of the business. But yeah, man, wild ride. I mean, like, we learned a lot. I have severe ADHD. I learn differently. You tell me to read a book and tell you what it's about, I can't.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
If you put me in a situation with a lot of factors moving fast, I will figure out what's going on and what patterns I need to memorize.
Yeah.
Pattern recognition for me is where I excel. And that's in people. Like, you see patterns in people, you know. I don't like to be around addicts because I see patterns with addicts. In business, you see patterns like the way consumers react and, you know, how products launch and pricing and, you know, all these little nuances that I just really, and I like it. And so for many years, it was the manufacturing, like, you got to make the stuff. And it was pretty cool. At Under Armour, we were always behind. We always needed more shirts.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun job. Like, go open another factory, go find another country, go figure out a place to make more mock turtlenecks. So it wasn't like, it was like you had positive reinforcement around every corner.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is working. Wow, this is working. So, like, why would I stop? Like, it was hard and I wasn't great at it. And I had bosses hired over me and I got demoted at times and they didn't always give me the big salary. Like, hey man, like, my path at Under Armour was not one of like, me and Kevin were boys and he just gave me everything. He took a lot away from me. And he was like, you're not ready for that. This guy from Nike, he's got 30 years experience. I'm like, fuck that. I can outrun that guy. And he's like, no, you can't. You know, so I think as he saw me grow, he gave me more, but I earned it for sure. Anybody that knows me at Under Armour, there wasn't a goddamn job I wasn't willing to do.
Yeah. So you did everything. You started at the lowest level.
I was working in the warehouse.
Yeah, working in the warehouse.
Running the forklift was fun. Packing boxes was fun. But, you know, I don't want to make it about me. Like, there was a really good group of people. And if you got some teams you've been around and you're like, yeah, I'm pretty good. But like, these dudes I played with, They were sick.
Oh yeah, Hall of Fame. I got Von Miller beside me.
I played with Hall of Fame, respectable, hardworking characters. Maybe I get to hold the term co-founder and they don't, but they're no different than me. They did so much.
Was that co-founder given? Not given, but
he kind of did that
like
for
right
me.
away, or was that like later?
Yeah, later. Yeah, that was not something.
That's cool as hell.
Once we went public, man. I think he saw the importance with Ryan Wood, who lives right here in Colorado, myself, and Scott Plank, his brother. And you know what? I thought at times I was worth more. Sometimes he thought I was worth less. At the end of the day, man, I'm just super like, it's grateful.
What an incredible opportunity
for everybody that was involved. It literally changed my life. But I don't actually I'm like sitting here trying to think of like, okay, how do I get him off the topic?
You don't like talking about it.
I don't like talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in it.
Because
I feel like people are like,
because it's done?
Yeah, I feel like people are listening like, dude, is this guy just going to like ride this shit forever? Like, what have you done lately, dude?
Yeah, but we're going to get to that though.
But that's just the way I feel.
I know exactly what you mean. I get that way about people wanting to talk about my career and stuff too. And it's like, dude, I played for 10 years and won a Super Bowl and fucking, this and that. And, it's all great, but let's talk about what I'm doing now. Because that's like you have to move forward.
And I try to figure out why they want to know. I think it's because they want to try to glean something that occurred back in those early days that they maybe can learn from or something. And I can just tell people it's really hard because it doesn't translate. What I did doesn't translate to what other people, the timing, the market, the consumer, the technology, the people that I was around. It was all a unique situation. Now, Under Armour's, they're a $6 billion company still out there trying to hammer it. Kevin stepped back in as the CEO, and they're out there swinging. Because you know what? It's effing hard. Dude, no one cares.
No
one's just going to hand over billions of dollars and be like, you're amazing. Every day your brand has to wake up and be like, how are you going to delight the consumer? And how are you going to run this thing like a top that spins perfectly? And we were talking about the Ravens organization and the Broncos. And I have a little bit of insight to the Ravens organization and spent some time with Coach Harbaugh myself at some events. Always impressed. I just sponsored the Ravens bar with Big Truck. And it's like, hey, they're a good organization because they run really good.
Shit rolls downhill. So if you have shitty ownership, then it's going to trickle down. And then it trickles down to the play that you get on the field. It's just like the NFL, a team is just like any other business. When we had Pat Bowlen in Denver, the business was booming because we had an owner that gave a shit. But when he passed away, we won that Super Bowl, and then he passed away, we won a Super Bowl, and then it was like a power struggle. Yeah,
and you can't live in an organization with a power struggle.
Well, if they're fighting up top, how are they ever focusing on anything on the bottom? It's like, hey, dude, we have the number one defense in the NFL. Why don't we have a quarterback?
And you wonder why they don't recognize it. You know why? Because people with low self-awareness are dangerous.
They are extremely dangerous.
You could be really successful and think you're going to be successful again because of what you did before or who you're associated with, and you lose a little bit of your awareness.
Well, I think the NFL taught me that whatever you did last year doesn't mean shit this year.
Oh,
because every year in the NFL, they don't give a fuck.
It's like over
Peyton Manning. They let Peyton Manning. The thing about that.
Yeah,
the Indianapolis Colts let Peyton Manning walk.
Yeah.
See,
think about all the great players that
everybody's
at some point in time.
Leave.
Yeah, what have you done for me lately? I get a little bit of that from my father. I got that from some of my coaches. I think the situation in life where I was extremely independent and alone at a young age, that I was just willing to work to create something for myself. But yeah, it's a special story. It's cool. I learned a lot. I'm trying to help other companies and my companies, and I'm sometimes, what I learned then works. Sometimes it doesn't. There's no gimme.
No. And that's what, when people ask, you're like, hey, I'm wondering why people are trying to figure out, is there like a secret recipe for success? Hard work.
Yeah, well,
You just fucking
hard
work your ass
there.
off is like, that's the foundation. Then you need a lot of luck and you need smart people, know how to hire the right people. Like
it's funny. All right. So like anybody listening is going to be like, I've heard these things before.
Yeah.
Like you just stated some really notable but common things that people say about business and life. So why is it that people get tripped up on it?
Because they want instant gratification.
They probably want instant gratification. They have a little bit of issue with self-awareness, and they don't believe they believe in something for the future. They don't evaluate the reality of now.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, this person's great. Well, are they great now? Well, he's not performing great right now, but I know he's an awesome guy. He's got no. Is he performing right now? Like they ignore reality.
Yeah. It happens with coaching in the NFL.
That's interesting.
It'd be like, oh, he coached this guy and that guy. It's like, yeah, but that was a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't mean that like that's going to translate to him coaching an average guy.
Yeah,
and make him great. There's shitty coaching in the NFL beyond me, and it's all because
there's shitty executives in big business.
Yeah,
people make a lot of money at these big corporations, the biggest corporations around the world. I have some insights into some of them. I worked for one that was big, and I worked with a bunch of others that are big at Under Armour and past. And I'm amazed at how many people I think are bad people and not good at their job. And they're extremely successful.
Yeah. They fail upwards somehow.
Man, it's like a modern day con artist.
Yeah.
It's like back in the 40s and 50s, a con artist was like a guy who could like get the bank teller to like give him an extra 10. Con artists today are like corporate executives that are bullshit artists.
Yeah.
They suck ass. They kiss people's butt. They blame others. They take credit for other people's work. Like it's sickening to me. I mean, I've seen a lot of it. It's really, any big organization, it's there. But some of the great organizations, they like squeeze those people out.
Yeah.
And I know the Ravens is one of those organizations. I know Under Armour was one of those. They've been through it, ups and downs a little bit. I think they're on the upswing right now. But you got to always just check yourself. It's hard.
Yeah, you have to, if you can't evaluate yourself, so any great leader, right? Being a leader sucks. You know why it sucks? Because everything's your fucking fault. Yeah. Like when you're the leader, it's your fault. Like it doesn't matter. It's funny. I was at one of my best friends, his 10-year-old was playing in the game to go to the championship football game.
Sweet.
He's the quarterback, and he's like the best 10-year-old quarterback in Colorado. He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He throws the ball, the receiver drops the ball, and he's frustrated because he just threw a perfect pass to this kid and he dropped it. And he's like throwing his hands up, and as soon as he got this, I was like, Princeton, come here.
You can't do that.
I was like, don't do that, dude. You're the quarterback.
You got to show everybody.
You say be like, that's my fault. I should have put the ball.
Yeah.
Made it easier.
A couple inches to the left.
Or threw it a little softer. Yeah. Like it's on you. It's always your fault. Remember that. And he was like, all right.
We have he's not my son, but he's a really good lacrosse player on our lacrosse team. And he has a ton of talent. And if he makes a bad play, he slams his stick on the ground and acts like a baby. And it's been a little bit of tug of war with the parents and some of the other coaches, but I have zero tolerance for it.
Zero.
I was screaming on the sideline with all the parents watching me at a tournament, and he's getting a little teary-eyed and he's crying. I was like, I was so livid that he was acting like that. He's one of the best players.
Yeah.
There's no reason to act like that, but there's some emotional maturity. These kids are young. We're putting a lot on them. They don't know how to act yet, but hopefully with some good coaching. But it's funny. Some of that same behavior is happening when people are 40, 50, 60 years old.
They still act that way.
And then they like blame someone else.
Yeah. They blame someone else. They have a bad day. So they throw a fit. I mean, I think about this with, my mom is an addict. I have a lot of friends that are addicts, and they always blame somebody else.
Victim.
They're a victim, and they're always blaming someone else for their. And I'm like, dude, you're the one you're doing this to yourself. Like, don't blame. It doesn't matter what somebody did to you or what happened. That's all in the past. So now you have to move forward. You can't be so upset about one play, right? Yeah. That you're going to, and especially when you're one of the best players on the team and that everybody's watching you, throwing a fit is the last thing you should do. It shows weakness, and it shows that, you know, you think you're above the team. It's bad.
And we've all been there to some degree, but it's whether you can check yourself or not.
Oh yeah. Oh, believe me, I've come to the side. Even in the NFL, there's times I come to the sideline and fucking lose my mind.
Well, I lose my mind in meetings still. I'm still trying to figure out how to pull it back. But, you know, I guess there is that side of it that you do want people to have passion.
Yeah.
And so there's like a balancing act there that I'm still trying to figure out. Dude.
Well, it's controlled chaos, you know, like that's what sports are. It's controlled chaos.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you have to be able to like regulate your emotion.
You probably mastered that.
I did, but it took a long time, man. Cause I had 0 rules as a kid. There was no guidance,
no regiment, no
system. It was just like, I was just like this savage kid that loved to hit people and was good, I understood how a football play worked. Like I played running back and linebacker until I got to high school. So it was like, hey, when the ball's in your hands, the quicker you score, the quicker you get, because I loved playing defense. My coaches would say, the quicker you score, the quicker you get back on defense. So I just was like, okay, don't get tackled and score. And then on defense, it was see ball, get ball.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And it was so easy.
It's nice to have a simple life, isn't it?
Oh, it was so simple.
Dude, now that you're not playing, it's like, dude, this is complicated.
This is so complicated. Life is so much more complicated. I thought, I'm going to retire. Everything's going to be, I'm just going to golf and hunt. And
yeah, I did that. That didn't work.
No, hell, it does not work for me.
I lasted like a week.
Yeah, I have to be doing something.
I lost my mind.
Yeah, I was losing. I was. And I was open about it on social media about like my mental health struggles. Cause I was like, dude, I feel like a warrior without a war to fight. Like I needed like something to conquer.
You know, it's funny. So the little bit of history of Under Armour is I went through a little bit of that at Under Armour, and I got frustrated for a bunch of different reasons. Maybe I wasn't handling things. And I went to my partner and said, hey man, like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like I want my own division. And that's when I started Under Armour Outdoors. And that's when we started the whole camo business at Under Armour, and, you know, it had a great run and was fun, but it was really through frustration that I decided to do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's okay to be frustrated, but it's like, you gotta
take action.
You gotta take action. And, you know, and the same thing when I met the Origin guys, I was like, hey man, I love camo. Like, let's make camo. I love boots. They make boots. You know, I got into hunting. Now I own an outfitter. I like having a cold beer. I'm having a cold beer and I'm owning a beer brand. So I've kind of figured out, like, Kip, don't work on things unless you really think it's interesting.
Right.
Because the frustration's not worth it.
Well, and because that's an ADHD thing. You know, we talked earlier. If you don't love what you're doing, it's torture. Yeah, like it's fucking, I sucked. I hated school so much. Like I didn't like the fact that I had to ask someone to go to the bathroom. Like I shouldn't have to fucking ask you who the fuck are you?
Dude,
you know, to tell me if
you didn't have rules, you didn't like authority.
Exactly.
And so I was a freshman in high school in Hawaii and I had no curfew.
Yeah.
So I was the same way. Like,
you couldn't tell you shit.
I do not like to be told what to do whatsoever. And people that know me, like, I'm almost to the point where if you start boxing me in, I'll find a way out of it. But I've also never worked for anybody. You know, I've always done my own thing. It's stressful as hell. People are like, oh, you got these businesses you're involved in and you own these. And I'm like, man, I wish I worked for GE. I had a bonus. I had sick days. I had vacation days. Like, it's just steady Eddie because every day it's a fight.
Well, yeah, because it's a fight to stay alive every day.
Well, and you got to pay employees.
Yeah.
I got to pay payroll tax. I got insurance and I got my own health insurance. And you have a bunch of people, you know, we have 40, 50 employees at Big Truck, and, you know, Origin's got, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people. And, you know, Bushwhack, I have all these guides. They're amazing dudes, young, savages. I mean, savages.
Yeah.
And now I feel responsible. Like, okay, we need to build a big business here. And, you know,
and you want to be able to keep, you want to be able to keep them.
Yeah, they're going to go somewhere.
Yeah, because if you can't pay them, then somebody else will.
So there's a lot of responsibility when you step out on your own.
Being a business owner is never easy. Nobody. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, it must be nice to make your own schedule. Yeah, the schedule is from sun up to sundown.
Yeah, I have flexibility. I have more flexibility, but I have 5 times as much responsibility.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit of a trade-off.
Well, you can't take a day.
I mean, I've been trying to get out here to do this podcast
for
a year.
A year, yeah. I'm trying to do this for a year.
Started it.
So it's
or before you even started, I think you were like thinking about it.
As soon as I was starting it, I was like, hey, I was going to have you as one of my first guests.
Yeah.
And I just get it, dude. That's why I'm like, I'm not taking it personal. I get it. Like, I understand what it's like.
I appreciate it.
And, but so when you sold, how much did your life change when you guys sold? Like what was
So we went public in 2005, November of 2005, we became a public company. So I was a public officer at a public company longer than I was a private executive, which is wild to me.
Yeah.
So we had a heck of a run, and that comes with stock options and stock and, all these.
How did you navigate all that?
Man, not well. I got really nervous that people were going to take my money. And you've hunted my place, my previous place in Pennsylvania. I bought land. I was terrified to give it to these like financial advisors from like New York, Goldman Sachs. They talked funny. They acted like they were going to make me all kinds of money. I'm like, well, I just made a lot of money. I don't really need to make any money. And I managed some of it well. Some of it I didn't manage well. I think I've learned a lot in the last 20 years about like big financing and cash flow.
Yeah.
And wise investment versus emotional investment. And I still have my moments, where I want to do that. I want to do that.
I call it dumbass attacks.
Yeah, but I really,
still do them too.
I'm a strategic thinker by nature. I'm actually not very good on small day-to-day tasks. I'm really, my strength is these large patterns that emerge over time. And so, yes, it changed my life. But at the end of the day, I'd have to give you some people to call, but I don't feel like I changed a ton. Now, I feel like some other people changed quite a bit. But I'm kind of not all that different, man. Yeah, I'm kind of a dick. I'm kind of a grind. I kind of like do my own thing. I'm not driving Ferraris and being stupid. And yeah, I've bought some properties and done some investment stuff because that's just things you have to do to manage your money. But I don't know. I'd be really curious for people that have known me for a long time to ask them if like how much I've changed.
I think that you're a super humble guy. Like
I'm out freaking trying to get my guide license in Alaska right now. People think I'm a stupid idiot.
I know. That's why people would never know. I always loved meeting people. I never wanted somebody to meet me and be like, oh, that guy fucking sucked. Like, that guy he was terrible.
You meet a lot of people like that, isn't it?
And you
funny?
meet there's a ton.
I've pissed a lot of people off.
That's okay. That's okay.
People don't like me, so I should go out of my way right now to say like, I have driven a hard bargain for a long time, and it doesn't always sit well with people. And there's some people
you have a standard.
I don't trust and I don't like, and I ride them hard. I ride people that I don't trust or respect because I want to see them break or fail.
Yeah.
And then it confirms why I didn't like them.
Yep.
So
no,
I don't know.
I understand that. That coaches will do that.
Oh, I can imagine.
Great coaches do that.
At your level, I bet you they do it a lot.
Oh, they try to break you.
Yeah.
They do it to the military guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's why the tier 1 operators are fucking unbreakable mentally. Like you can't crack those guys. And that's because they were tested. And the guys that were crackable cracked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those are guys you don't want on your fucking team. You just don't want them. And that's why we go through training camp every year.
I think
in the NFL, it's to test who's going to fucking quit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, are you going to give up whenever like it's the fourth quarter, dude, and like everybody's fucking tired and they're running fucking double teams and power down our throats. So like, are you going to be able to hold that double team, hold the point whenever you're dog ass tired?
That physical side that you're describing, because as you say the words, I'm like thinking of how to explain this. That physical capability to like make it through really hard things is like a must-have.
Yeah.
But it is not a guarantee Because what I see sometimes is business owners, talking about business for a second, business owners that are gritty and spectacular on the physical side, they think they can just outwork something hard. And if you have a bad strategy, you show up every day and work 90 hours a week. Your pricing's wrong. You don't understand who your consumer is. You didn't focus on the details. Like, your product doesn't match other products. Like, customers can't get shit on time. Like, does not matter that you personally can physically endure this like mental tenacity, like for physical. If you try to just take that approach and just grind it out. So you have to balance this, like this thinking. It's the same thing. You have to grind it out. You have to play it 1,000 times in your head. You have to go look for 1,000 different data points. You got to talk to people that you don't know. You got to study consumers. It's the same grind.
Yeah.
You can't give up. Like when the guy's telling you to do more push-ups or run that 40 again, or hey, like you got to do more on the 225, like, or whatever. And you're like, no, fuck, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You have to do this thinking, this thing of thinking. And you cannot, and I say this a lot and people don't understand what I say, you can't have a predisposition or a bias for an outcome that you want to see. You're conditioning yourself to see things only for things you think will give you the thing you want. And you ignore others that are telling you otherwise. So you're biasing your thinking.
Yeah.
It's the same grind, dude.
Yeah.
It's the same like humble grind approach. Like, man, I got to do better. Like, I just could not finish those sets. I'm going to fucking crush it. You're like, oh, I got to do better. Something didn't go right with this. How am I going to think through that? I think like my brain is really dangerous for my mental health. And people around me see me go through the ups and downs because I am thinking about that shit all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly asking myself, do I have a bias? And I'm only looking at the things that are confirming what I want.
I don't think people.
Does that make sense?
I
hope I make sense.
No,
it's
you
like,
make sense to me.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me because.
I'm saying it, I'm like, dude, I sound like an asshole.
No, you don't, because it makes sense to me because it's like, okay, if my goal, so I'm just going to put this in football terms because that's what I know and that's what makes sense to me. But if my goal every year is like, hey, I always set my goals. Like I wanted to be an all-pro every year, right?
Yep.
So I want to be an all-pro and I'm trying to win a Super Bowl every year. Those are the two goals. Like that's the start. Now I have these micro goals that go on to get me to that. Well, I played 10 years. I won one Super Bowl. So I failed a lot.
Yeah, 9 times.
So every single year I would reevaluate. I'd be like, oh, it's not.
You got better at figuring out which ones were the bias or not.
Exactly. It was like,
we have a best quarterback, but we don't have a defense. Or we got this, or the NFL team, or they paid a lot. Or
exactly. But something had to change.
You had to find the perfect match.
I had to find things that like, we had for 3 years, we had a really good football team. But we went and we lost the Super Bowl. We were number 1 seed 3 years in a row. They fired the head coach.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy. That was it. And I was like, man, that's bold. Brought in a brand new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Brought in new coaches, a whole new staff, everything. Win a Super Bowl right away.
That you just said something that I love. That you said that was bold. I believe tenacity, humbleness, and boldness usually return greatness.
Yeah.
But if you remove the bold,
you have to be willing to take a risk. You have to be willing to take risk.
Yeah. I mean, I think people that are out there that are listening are like, okay, well, what can I take away from this? Like these guys are kind of talking about things that may or may not apply to me. Literally, you can literally break someone's life down and be like, are you being bold about your health? Are you being bold about your diet? Are you being bold about the way you are in a relationship and how you're showing up? Are you being bold in business? Are you standing up calling out the boss on occasion because you know a better way to do it. That takes courage. You might lose your job, or you might get passed over because he doesn't like you. So there's like all these little micro ways to be bold. Sometimes people think of like bold as like this grandioso, once in a lifetime, I get to choose to be bold. And for me, I think as I get older, I just turned 52, like I really push myself not to get safe as I get older.
Yeah. Yes. I love that you said that because, you talk about like these micro bold moves that you make, right? I look at it like in my marriage, right? My communication skills were shit.
We all are.
They just were shit.
You mean you're a dude?
Yeah. So I
no one taught you how to communicate.
Fuck no. Are you kidding me?
Especially with the childhood you had.
Yeah. Zero blueprint for what a relationship's supposed to look like. Right. Yeah. So now I like challenge myself every day. Like, how can I communicate? Especially with, I live in a house with all women.
Yeah. Right.
I got a 5-year-old girl, a 17-year-old daughter, and a wife. So I have 3 different age groups of women that are emotional.
And they all want something different.
And they all communicate differently.
Yeah.
But if you come from, what I've learned is that if I can come from a place, no matter how irritated I am, if I can come from a place of love,
sure,
it always gets across to them. But when I come at them from a place of frustration and anger, it never gets across to them. They shut down. They just shut down and they're like, no, that doesn't equate to me. I don't understand what you're even saying. All I hear is your tone and this and that. Like even with my 5-year-old, something as simple as sometimes they have to be scolded, for like bad behavior, but I don't ever do it from standing above her. I always go down to her level. Because I'm 6'6" and
yeah, that's pretty.
Have dreadlocks and a beard and I'm tattooed. So like, what do I? A 5-year-old girl is gonna obviously. I'm not trying to scare her out of in fear. I want her to respect me. So I explained to her, like, hey, that makes me feel like you don't respect me when you do that.
Well, I mean, you're dancing around something is like you're just learning to do something better.
Yeah.
So if you're not learning, what are you really doing in life?
Yeah, but I'm learning patience. Like, I was never really a patient guy because. I play a sport where it's 6 seconds and then the next one happens. 6 seconds and another one happens. 6-second plays. So it's like every 6 seconds is a new life.
The ice bath for me has taught patience and compassion and understanding more than anything. And I'm still not good
empathy has helped with empathy too.
Yeah, all of those things. It has for sure. I'm not great at it. I blow up. I have ADHD. So with ADHD, is that if there's a problem or a agitation, I get shot with adrenaline or dopamine, and it's hard for me to come back from it quickly.
Yeah.
So I can quickly ramp up when I get frustrated.
But it's hard to come back.
Yeah, it's hard to come back. I always come back, but it's not fast. I think the ice bath has been fun to kind of like experiment with. But yeah, it's
how long have you been doing that?
It's been years now, man. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
I did obviously up in the shower, man. I was like, Colorado cold. I was like, yes,
cold water.
Because like,
I take one every morning. I take a cold shower every morning.
It's good, man. And you have a great place. So
thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny is like we talked about Under Armour. Really, when I think of Wolfe Untamed and what I was excited about to talk about is like, dude, this guy's into hunting. And I've been into hunting a long time. Yeah. I made a career of hunting. I've done business in hunting. Now I moved to this outfitter thing with Bushwhack, Alaska. And I just want to tell everybody, like, you called me up and you're like, paid your dues, bought a moose hunt, and I said, hey, I'll give you a little bit of a discount, not much, if I come on the podcast twice. So we can do it after you kill something, or at least... it's not guaranteed, but at least when you get back. And I'm like, hunting for me has been a massive equalizer across all these things we just talked about.
Yep.
Patience and frustration and humility. And dude, hunting teaches you all of them in spades.
It's insane.
It's insane.
I try to explain that to people. They're like, oh, you just like going out and killing shit. I'm like, dude,
it's because they don't know.
I'm like, dude, I'm a bow hunter. All right.
Anybody that says that is just clearly never even experienced any of it.
They haven't. And they're just seeing,
uninformed.
They're uninformed and they just like, they've seen a hunting show one time, and it's like, obviously they've seen a kill, and then they're like, oh, you just see these pictures of people with dead animals and stuff. I'm like, dude, you don't know what kind of work, like if I post a picture with an animal, you don't know what kind of work went into that. Like I went on a mountain goat hunt this year.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, you don't know that I bushwhacked for 14 fucking miles, and then I was 350 miles from a road. Hey guys, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite sponsors, Juniper Mountain Coffee. Coffee without compromise. You're getting high quality coffee without the high prices. This is an American company that stands behind their values. They stand behind their coffee. These guys make some of the best coffee I've ever had. It's a coffee I drink every morning. Juniper Mountain Coffee works directly with the farmers, paying fair wages, and that way you have no middleman. There's no BS, no garbage. You're getting high quality products. So go check them out at junipermountaincoffee.com.
The number one reason in Alaska why people aren't successful at my outfit?
Why?
The number one reason.
Because they did quit?
Because they quit.
Yep. And that's how hunting is. If you quit,
you're done.
You're done. Cliff Gray said that. I said, what's the one thing you would say to what that makes a great hunter? He goes, oh, you just don't quit.
Yeah.
It's
miserable.
Because I don't consider myself a good hunter. I don't. I'm big. I'm big, and I'm not sneaking up on anything,
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll give you a buck knife for a brown bear. We'll send you in there because you're about as big as they are. Yeah, it's really, really a good equalizer to kind of remind you. One, it connects you to Mother Nature.
Yeah.
We're not like this superhuman race of humans. We're just another species on Earth.
Yep.
And we're connected to all the other species. We're part of the biohemisphere, the habitat, all of it. We're all linked. And so prey or predator. So it links us to Mother Nature. It teaches us patience, humility. It provides some great memories.
Yeah, the camaraderie.
It's crazy, man. Like Cam and I, we had an okay relationship, because we kind of were like, we worked together and he was a sponsored athlete and, but really we would have zero like brotherhood if we didn't start hunting together.
Yeah.
And now it's like, he's like blood.
Yeah.
So it creates a lot of stuff. And, if someone's listening, they're probably a hunter. I wish some non-hunters would probably kind of download this and listen to it, but, probably not a lot of it. But the hunters that are out there, I think it is our job to kind of like soften a little bit of how we approach the other people that are not hunters.
Yeah.
Because it's important to invite people and not be like, fuck them and they'll never understand and they're woke or they don't get it or they vote differently than me. It's like, yeah, man, like that sounds like you're kind of an asshole.
It sounds like you're fitting the stereotype.
Yeah, it's like, what better way to conserve wildlife if we got more people involved?
Well, you have to, and you have to educate people.
Colorado's a perfect example.
I killed that mountain lion, Kip, and people, I go wherever I go in the country. I was in Las Vegas with my wife, and I'm buying a shirt at some clothing store because, we're going somewhere. I need a nice shirt, and she's like, go down there and get a shirt. So I'm down there getting a shirt, and the guy at the counter's like, hey, didn't you kill a mountain lion or something? And the lady behind me was like, how could you? Like, first thing she said, how could you do that?
Yeah.
And my first reaction, I wanted to be like, fuck you. You don't know anything about this. But I was like, I turned around. I was like, hey, I know it seems savage. I know how it looks and what it seems. I was like, but the reality is, and I hit her with all the facts about how, the population. I was like, first of all, I hit her with like, if hunters are paying for tags and paying outfitters and doing this and doing that. If they don't do it and they don't meet a quota, the government pays a houndsman to go in there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And do it anyways, and they leave them lie. I said I had to process every ounce of that meat for human consumption. I ate the entire thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I didn't just kill it for a hide and a skull.
So, this might ruffle some feathers if anybody's in the government in Alaska, but in our area, our greater area where we hunt, the state came in and shot, I think it was 88 or 89 brown bears right after our brown bear season had ended this year. And I wrote a letter, and I'm going to continue to write and try to figure out ways to communicate with the powers to be. It blows my mind that I have paying clients and you give us all these restrictions. You can only shoot one bear every 4 years. You can't bait, blah, 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 blah. I had literally clients that could have shot 2 bears.
Yeah.
So, we had, good numbers. I mean, I could have almost done a quarter of their hunt for them at no cost, and I brought economy to the state of Alaska.
Exactly.
Literally, why would someone oppose and then they secretly go kill 80 bears with professional hunters and helicopters?
Because it's an attack on our way of life.
Yeah, there's something there. There's an undercurrent there that we all
doing
need
it here
to be
in Colorado with the Proposition 127. And they'll word things, right? So the way they word things on ballots,
yeah, you can't trust them. It's not really. They're saying,
what they're saying. It's a trophy hunting ban. Trophy hunting is illegal in Colorado already.
Yeah,
lynx hunting already illegal, but they have lynx, mountain lion, and bobcat trophy hunting on the ballot.
What they're doing is they're propaganding an uninformed group of people that are already highly politicized.
Yes.
So these people have been charged with billions of dollars of propaganda for all kinds of political stuff. Vote for this, COVID that, pick a side, blah, blah. Yep. So they're already agitated.
Yep.
And now they see that opportunity.
Yep. And it's a grab. They don't want to, like the conservative, the hunter, that guy. That's
where the Bubba thing, that's where the Bubba hunting thing gets a little bit of a bad rap. Because as hunters, we have not done a good job of communication, education, and staying together. Because when you look at these ballots and, use the 127 in Colorado, literally the vote gets less than tags bought. So that means everybody that bought a tag didn't vote. Yeah. That means you're just lazy.
10 million hunters in the U.S. didn't vote in the last presidential election.
Yeah, see that
10 million.
Yeah, I mean.
And then they'll all complain, all of them. And I don't want to hear you bitch if you didn't participate in your government and choosing who is going to run your country even, then you have no.
Yeah, you can't. Don't complain.
Don't say a word about it.
Yeah, don't complain. It's interesting, right? With like you said, you went on the goat hunt. There's a group of hunters, and I'm not judging anybody because I do think hunting is what does it mean for you? It's not what does it mean for Kip or Derek. And there's these really cool, if you understand hunting, there's quail hunting in Georgia, and there's pheasant hunting in South Dakota, and then there's guys that like sheep and brown bear, and then there's muley fanatics and elk crazy, and then obviously the whitetail craze.
Yeah.
And so
Turkey hunters.
there is so much subculture underneath the covers of hunting that is why we don't band together.
Yeah. And it's you want to talk about something that's diverse? Anyone can do this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Literally anyone can do this. Anybody can do that. It's not crazy expensive. To go, especially on the East Coast, if you want to just whitetail hunt.
You just probably need someone to hold your hand if you didn't come from that.
Exactly.
You met a guy at a local gun store. Is my favorite gun store. It's Continental Arms in Timonium, Maryland. And the guy's name's Abe. I'm not going to say his last name. Super dialed in, knows everything about guns. And I've been buying some stuff for my son and some stuff for some guides in Alaska. And this guy is dialed. He knows everything about guns. I mean, the dude's a genius. I'm I wish I was Abe. He knows everything. I'm his brain is huge. And he said he just got his hunter safety card and he's never hunted, didn't grow up in a hunting family. I immediately offered to take him on my farm. I was hey man, I have a farm about 10 miles from here. If you're ever interested, I'll show you the ropes. That is what we need.
Yeah.
Bring people in.
Yeah.
Not I could have given him attitude. I could have been this guy's a poser.
Oh, why don't you hunt?
Yeah, or just giving him I'm better. Well, I've shot this and I've shot that. And so I do think, man,
the hunting industry it's been irritating, tough. Man, because it is a lot of, there's so many egos in it.
So that's why I decided to get into it again.
I'm glad you did because the egos that are involved. All right, guys, I want to talk to you about a product that I've been using for a long time, over a decade. When I was playing football, one of my main staples in my diet was bison. I got my bison from Great Range Premium Bison. They make some of the finest cuts of bison you can get. These guys have ribeyes, ground bison, all the steaks that you want. My favorite part about Great Range is that you don't have to worry about antibiotics or growth hormones in their meats. Great Range Premium Bison is a family-owned company providing bison meat from family-owned ranches around the country. So please go check out greatrangebison.com.
I want to build a best-in-class organization that treats our employees and our clients like gold. And I want people to have experiences that melt into their brain and never go away.
Yeah.
And when you hunt with us or any Alaskan outfitter, you're getting the best of the best, and you're getting the most immense, amazing presentation of Mother Earth than you've ever seen in your life. I mean, my lodge says snow-capped views, lake. It's unobstructed. Derek, there's no boats. There's no hotels.
Kip, now that we're talking about bushwhack, though, let's talk about how you got into that, because I think people need to understand that, like, okay, why would this fucking guy decide to go into guiding in Alaska and buy an outfit in Alaska? Like, what the?
Well, my grandfather is from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Yeah, here we got it up. We got the website up right here.
Oh, sweet. I had the Big Chino guys introduced me to Eric, the previous owner, who's a pretty interesting cat. He was on that show, Life Below Zero. And, it was really cool. I shot my first brown bear when I was 26 years old outside of Dillingham at Woodtick State Park. And then forever went to Alaska on trips, mainly for bear. I'm absolutely love brown bear grizzly hunting. And I just started to realize, that I can't help the hunting industry if I'm not a part of the commerce of the industry. And I own that lodge up in Pennsylvania, and I've hunted in the Northeast a lot, whitetail and black bear. And I just wanted to put a flag in the ground that I'm 52. For the next 20 years, I'm going to burn my boots in Alaska. And maybe I'll be worth a shit in 20 years. I don't think I'm worth a shit right now. I think my own guides, like, I'm supposed to be a packer, but they really don't let me do much because they're like, oh, he's the owner, And so I'm trying hard to, like, earn my stripes. But I think after 10 years, I could be good at this.
Yeah.
Like, good, like really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I'm a good hunter.
Because you love it. So you care about it.
I'm pretty passionate about hunting. And so we have it's all at our fingertips.
Yeah.
The wilderness is right at our fingertips. We have 2 remote lodges. We got great moose, great bear, great black bear, grizzly, brown bear. We got great fishing. So if I fuck it up, it's on me. Because everything's at my fingertips.
Yeah. It's all about how you run the business. Yeah. It's all about how you run the business.
My guide partner, Tim Winslow, is a stud. He's been there for 14 years. He's the registered guide. I'm learning from him. He's got quite a bit of YouTube following. He's been doing this a long time. He's an Arizona guy, but he spends half his life in Alaska. We have a great team. I wish I could name all the guys, but we have like these dudes are like feral.
Well, anybody that's watching this, next year when I come, not next year, the year after, so 2026, which is awesome. I was like so happy to hear that you're already booked out. Years in advance.
We're booked at 28. I
was like, dude, I hope he can sneak me in, because I just really, a moose is like the pinnacle for me. Like, I've always wanted to kill a moose, and then a moose and a grizzly with my bow are 2 things that I just.
Yeah. So you're going to go on one of our best hunts. You're going to go on a combo hunt. So you're a moose with a trophy fee for a grizzly, because they are in the season at the same time.
Yeah.
And you could kill over a carcass, which is totally legal. And because in that unit, baiting is legal. And you have a good opportunity at both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. Like, not everybody comes up there, just slams a moose and a grizzly.
No, bow hunting, especially when you're bow hunting. It's just
totally doable.
Yeah. And I that's why I love bow hunting so much, is because there's a chance I might not kill something. Like, I've gone 2 years in a row now, haven't killed. I was hunting the Gila last year and still didn't kill an elk.
Took me 6 years to kill my first bull elk with my bow, and now I'm on 20.
It's insane how hard it is.
Yeah.
But once you figure it out,
it's a little bit of a Rubik's Cube.
It is.
You're like when you see someone doing the Rubik's Cube and you're like, whoa, dude, they're a genius.
No, they just figured out the pattern.
And then like they show you like, no, it's left, right, orange, right. And you're like, oh, you gamed it.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
Well, it's like when I was a kid watching people like master a video game.
Yeah.
They just mastered the pattern.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now they're just like I had a roommate in college. He was like unbelievable at Call of Duty. And I was like, how are you so good at that? And he's like, oh, it's because he would take this little piece of tape on his screen. So,
oh my God. He was into it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, he's like, yeah, because he's like, you're not actually moving. It's all circle. It's like a big circle.
You know, it's funny with Alaska, the one factor, because the game, they all have patterns. And you got to wait out the pattern and you got to be in the right spot. But the pattern is going to emerge and you should get an opportunity to be in the right spot. But it's the weather in Alaska.
Wind.
It is the weather that will F your hunt up all the time.
Yeah.
Now, we've had clients miss, wound, blah, 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 blah. And they're not capable with their weapon. You know what's funny is like, we're pretty passionate bow hunters. I want to talk to the rifle hunters out there for a minute. Because a lot of guys come to Alaska, they rifle hunt. That is mostly the norm, and I'm totally cool with that and respect it. And I've shot a bunch of bears with rifles. Stop messing with your goddamn turrets. You're not a Navy SEAL. You're not counterterrorism. You're not Secret Service. You're not even the local SWAT.
Yeah.
Stop fucking with your turrets. Focus on a crosshair a couple inches high at 100 yards and know how to hold on an animal at 300.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's asking you to shoot a brown bear at moose over 300 yards is a bad guide.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to.
You might lose that, and that's a lifetime animal.
Yeah.
We want to get you in there close, and we want you to hammer them. So why do you need a turret? And right before you shoot,
it's all the science now.
We got guys shooting 125 yards, Derek, and I'm picking on people, and I'm sure they're fucking with a turret at 125 yards, and they're making bad shots.
They're worried about their MOA,
or they're missing the shot they should have took. That good broadside shot that he was standing there, and the guide got him to, maybe did a little predator call or a little rabbit call, and the bear just stood there, and you're still messing with your turret. Like, guys, turrets have a place. Big open plains, far distance, mountain to mountain, and someplace in Alaska, maybe sheep hunting, maybe some, but what we're doing for brown bear and for moose, turrets do not have a place.
And the caliber of weapon that you're shooting, the rifle that you're shooting on a brown bear, moose, and everything, you shouldn't have to move very far for 300-yard shot.
So we keep pretty tedious notes, and we're going to really start collecting more data. We're going to institutionalize that. Last year was my first year. This is going to be the second year, so I'm going to make a bunch of changes. But one of the things I want to know on every hunt with every guide and with every hunter, how many rounds were expired. And we kind of did a math for brown bear. The average is 6.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Think about how tough. Those things are so tough, man. Those things are, and they're scary as hell. That's why bow hunting them is just
one with an arrow.
Yeah.
Our average is 1 with an arrow.
Yeah. Well, you're only going to get one opportunity with it.
I mean, you might be able to get a second in him if he's monkeying around, but if you take a bad shot with an arrow, there's a good chance it's not even phasing him.
Yeah. You're going to probably have to pull a gun out and shoot him.
And all of the bad bear situations that I've either been physically present at or been in camps where someone else had problems, got mauled, attacked, charged, it's always a wounded bear.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, we just had some instances where guys got bluffed and it wasn't a wounded bear. It wasn't something I was a part of. I think maybe they stumbled on a sow and cubs and they never saw the cubs. But man, don't mess with a wounded bear.
No. Shouldn't mess with the bear anyways.
When you take a bad shot and you're messing with your turret,
yeah,
and someone's got to crawl in on their hands and knees into the thick alders to try to recover that bear, and
you're putting people at risk.
Yeah. So,
what would you say the
That's why the state of Alaska does not allow brown bear and grizzly hunting without a guide. You can actually do, and it's a hunt we offer. You're not doing it, but we do it yourself moose.
Yeah.
Because you can
it's like a $900 tag or something, right?
Yeah, you can buy the tag, pay us an outfitter fee to travel you in and out because you're going to be in our territory. But we have a lot of guys that buy that tag because they don't want to pay the guided price. But with brown bears and grizzlies, you can't do that. You have to have a guide.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I don't like going into an area that I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know the area. So how am I going to know where to find moose and where to, unless because I don't have 14 to 20 days to put in figuring shit out.
You know, we had about, I think half of our hunters this year for moose were unguided and half were guided. I call it DIY. Our DIY guys did better than our guided moose hunters.
Really?
And we had some older gentlemen that couldn't get around well on the guided side. So I think that played to the numbers. But I will say that the unguided hunters were seriously motivated.
Oh, yeah.
This was a once in a lifetime. They saved up the money. It's Alaskan moose. These guys hunted their ass off. We got guided clients. When it's raining, they're like, they don't want to get out of the tent.
Yeah, see, that's...
I'm not looking down on anybody, but if you want to kill, there's a direct correlation to the number of hours you spend in the field and the likelihood of your success.
Yeah.
The less hours, the correlation goes down. So I'm not judging you. You might have something going on, health problems. You might just be mentally zoned out. You might be frustrated. You might have stuff going on at home. I always tell people, don't have shit going at home and go to Alaska because it's the worst.
Yeah, because you can't deal with it.
But you got to hunt hard.
You have to.
Yeah.
Any big game is that way. You know, even whitetail. Whitetail hunting is like a different game, though, because it's a mental game because you're just sitting and waiting. And then you're like, oh, the wind switched. And everything.
All day sits, man.
All day sits in November, man. Like that November rut.
You did something up in PA. That's the hardest. That's the hardest property to hunt.
Oh, because the wind.
Well,
the wind is incredibly impossible.
And it's thick. They could be a 200-inch deer. He just goes 80 yards one way. You never saw him.
Well, the first sit we did.
Did you see bears when you were there?
I didn't see any bears.
Okay.
But we did see the first day, right? The first sit. You know, we're sitting there and hanging out, and I hear like, when those leaves are down, it sounds like a damn elephant coming through and it's just like a doe comes busting through there. I was like, oh, something's chasing her. 5 bucks behind her.
That's crazy. 5
of them. And not one of them would stop. Not one. Like I yelled at them and they wouldn't stop. And then like 30 minutes later.
I like that pre-rut. I actually like Halloween
right now. At the end of October.
I like this more than I like that. I've had a hard time during the rut up there.
They don't stop.
No, they're crazy.
They don't stop. And I was like, dude, if we had a rifle, we could have smoked one.
Well, on your moose hunt, that's very similar. So I don't know if it's global warming. I don't know if it's a change in the environment. Things happen in the weather patterns, specifically with elk, but also moose. These ruts have seemed to move out a little bit. They're a little bit later, and maybe they'll come back in the next 10 or 20 years because I definitely think they ebb and flow. But we noticed it really hard this year that the rut was like literally right when the season was over.
Yeah.
So for you, I'm wishing and hoping that we get rain, we get some cold snaps, just like elk, and it really puts those moose in because, a bull moose, and I don't have a ton of experience, so I'm replaying what I'm learning because it's definitely new to me, even though I have shot a couple moose. They'll come from miles away.
Oh, yeah.
If you call right, and I did a little cow call. I was practicing my cow call. I don't want to do it on here, but it sounds pretty funny. But raking a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, they will come. And that's how you're going to kill it with a bow.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to spot and stalk on like, okay, I see him. Let's go after him. It's like, no, let's get him to come.
Yeah. Because they cover so much ground.
Oh.
It's even worse than we had a moose, a Shiras moose. I was hunting Unit 49 this year in Colorado, it's a real steep unit and like, it's a great unit. There's elk everywhere, but I had to get up to like 12.5 before the elk I could even get on the elk.
Yeah,
that's for 2 miles. Tough. For 2 miles, this Shiras bull, just hung out with us, like not afraid of us at all. Like wind blowing right into his nose.
Yeah, the minute you get a tag, you'll never see him.
That's what I'm saying. And then
I shot a Shiras in Utah.
Really?
It was pretty comical. One of those hunts you want to forget.
You wanted to forget it?
Yeah. Cool in velvet though.
Oh, see, that's badass.
Not a big bull. He was kind of below average.
Have you killed a Canadian as well?
Yep.
So you've killed all 3.
I went Yukon with Jim Shockey. Stayed with Shockey in his cabin, and we shot a 64-inch, very respectable. Shot a grizzly and a caribou, and I was there for 4 days.
That's badass.
And Jim was like, Now I know why Under Armour is doing so well. You got a horseshoe up your ass. Get out of here. Get out of here. Jim and I have become pretty good friends over the years, and I'm friends with his son, Branlin. But I knew Jim way before I knew Branlin. We sponsored Jim back in the day.
Yeah.
With Cam and Jim and Dudley. So
Under Armour you guys popped on the scene like out of nowhere with the camo.
It's because I loved it.
And it was badass.
I take a lot of pride in the 2 camos that I had a strong hand in, which was the Ridge Reaper camo that Under Armour still uses.
The Ridge Reaper is fucking phenomenal.
And I
it's
think
still good.
I don't know. There's a rumor they might be getting out of it. I don't know. That's a rumor. I don't know. And then the Origin Raptor camo with me and Pete, which I think is
the coolest,
dope as well.
It's like the coolest camo.
They're effective.
Yeah, it works.
So
you don't have to be too fancy with the camo, right?
Just
like if you
break up the pattern,
and at the end of the day, like if you want to sell it, it's got to look cool.
I'm kind of on another kick right now with hunting. Like here, and I don't know if this will happen, but I know you'll appreciate it. Like, so I'm the guy that came in, I bought this lodge in this hunting, this outfitting business, and I'm trying to figure it out. It's going good, but it ain't all roses. But I need to earn some respect. And so I'm like trying to really think about that. Like, yeah, I got to pack some animals out. I got to listen. I got to learn. I'm like, I need to kill a bear and a moose with my bow by myself with nobody there. And I got to deal with it all by myself. Nobody there. So I'm pretty much next year.
It's going to go on with a moose.
Yeah. So next year I don't know if I'm going to be a part of the moose operation. I think I need to earn some stripes. See if I can
respect the hell out of that. And you know what? Your guides, the people that work for you, they'll respect the hell out of that.
Yeah. So
it's just like any
15 days in the woods by myself, kill a moose or not. Can I do it?
And then when you kill them, can you get it all out?
Yeah. Can I get it to the lake? Because that's where the plane's going to come.
Yeah.
You don't have to get it out. You just got to get it to the lake.
Get it to the lake.
And so we usually tell our DIY guys, like, hey, man, like if you're a savage, maybe 1.5 miles from the lake. If you're just an average Joe, do not go past 1 mile. Yeah. You physically will not be able to get that moose to the lake.
Yeah.
And we cannot come help you. When we're a DIY contract, we're forbidden by law to go in and help you pack it.
Why?
It's just the way the laws work, transporting laws, guide laws, outfitting laws. It's very, very, very specific. Yeah, we can enter a contract potentially to transport your meat, but that would be a separate contract with more money. But on your DIY hunt, if you call us and say, hey, I'm having trouble, can you come help? The answer is fucking no, do it yourself, get to fucking work.
That's crazy.
The answer is no, do it yourself, get to fucking work. Well, it's kind of cold and it's wet and I'm really tired. Got it, take a nap, get back to work.
Yeah.
Get that moose hung, get it prepped. Because if you don't, it's wanton waste and it's a federal offense or a felony offense. Excuse me. It's a felony offense.
To leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Felony.
Yeah.
Not a misdemeanor.
No.
Not a parking ticket. So now if you're a guided hunter, we can pack it for you. Yeah. We can have 2, 3, 4. We can show up with the cavalry. We can help you because you entered a guided contract. When you're not, you're not. People, we get a lot of requests for the DIY because, hey, listen, I'm going to just say it on the air. Like a moose hunt's $37,000. A DIY is 15.
Yeah.
So I get it. Guys don't want to pay the big 40%. Price. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, buy a DIY. You better be in shape. You better know how to use your weapon.
Either way, you better be.
Yeah. You better know how to stay dry. These guys are showing up and with gear that I'm like, hey man, like it's not whitetail hunting. No. Like you get wet, you're going to be wet for 10 days. You've got to know. Do you know what a dry sack is? Do you know what a waterproof bag is? Because you got like literally a Cabela's luggage bag that you're going into the backcountry with. That thing's going to get wet.
Yeah, it's going to rain.
And all your stuff. So I'm like, well, is your stuff inside in a dry bag? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh man. And then guys complained like we were wet the whole time.
Well, yeah, you didn't bring rain gear.
It's an art to stay dry.
Well, yeah, it is.
It's an art.
I mean, it's hard. I got stuck in the rain a few times, and all it takes is one time getting stuck in the rain and being wet to make you figure out, okay,
I don't want to do that again.
like I'll never do that again. Like I always make sure I have a tarp and I have rain gear.
Yeah, and
I don't care if I have to pack the extra weight. I'll do it.
And I remind people that you can get hypothermia at anything below 65 degrees.
Yeah.
Because once you get cold and it's windy, it just sucks the heat right out of you.
Yeah.
We did do a deal this year with Stone Glacier. We're swapping out all of our tents to Stone Glacier dome tents and 2-man tents. And we beat the hell out of a dome tent as a test because I didn't want to buy a bunch without testing it first. And man, I'll give Stone Glacier props and a little bit of shout out. Like their tents are ballers, and their 6-person dome you can stand up in. Now, someone like you probably can't, but I think it's like 6'1", 6'2", so it's pretty tall.
Which is perfect for a moose camp because you're sitting on that lake for days and days. And days.
Yeah, you need to be able to like have a good. I'm a big fan of anything that's a dome. I've been in the shittiest conditions, and any irregular shapes don't hold up in the wind. Domes, if you look at all the
not even what about TP? What about TP style?
No, man. The more you go up in the wind, the wind gets around it good, but you don't see any teepees on Everest.
No, it's all dome.
Why is that?
Because the wind.
A lot of snow.
A lot of snow and wind.
Yeah. So I have a lot of guys swear by the teepees. I have one. My brother swears by his. I personally have not. I take that back. I had a small teepee by a company out of Maine that I tested like 3 years ago. It held up, but it was a really small one.
Yeah.
It was low to the ground. It was basically my trekking pole height. It wasn't like way up there. These dome ones are pretty big. I mean, it's a 6-person tent, so you can sleep.
And what does it weigh?
People. Well, our Arctic tents weigh 45, 50 pounds. Our bomb shelter, I think it's 32 for the 6-person Stone Glacier, but their 2-man tents are like 6 pounds.
Yeah.
Everything's a fly-in with a bush plane or a beaver.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So you'll fly in a beaver,
cubs.
And most likely we'll be camping on a lake. Beaver can haul a lot of weight.
Oh yeah.
So you can take a lot of food. You can have a good tent, and you can you don't need to be really picky because you're going to hike. You're going to day hike, and then you're going to have a base camp.
Yeah.
If we have to pick up and move, we'll pick up and move. But the beavers can haul a lot. The cubs can't.
No.
The cubs.
No, they cannot.
We tell everybody 50 pounds or less, and they all show up with more.
Yeah, that was an issue in British Columbia.
Well, you're not your average.
That's
dude.
The thing. We were like,
so you can take like 30 pounds.
Yeah, I couldn't take any of my. That was the other thing when he was like, we're gonna take you last because you can't take any supplies with you. So it's just you and your bow.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was like, he's like, and if we take you first and drop you, and then the weather comes in, you're stuck.
Yeah, no, you got to get everything in first.
So I was with Snyder, with Aaron Snyder's, and they took Snyder in first, and he was like, I just make sure I have my sleeping bag and a
tent, a little bit of food, and we're good.
He's like, and I'm good. I can stay here for he loves that shit. He'll stay out there. It's like a vacation for him if that happened. He's like hoping for it to happen, but
I'm the same way, man. Like I'm not complaining about being in a tent by myself.
Fuck no, I love it. I love being out there. I love being out there, and I love the remoteness. I love the idea of like, hey, I'm like I got to survive out here, and I love trying to figure out that problem of.
It is. It's a big Rubik's Cube just to like have all the pieces.
Like, how do I make myself comfortable in this moment?
I've been doing it my whole life. My dad being this like Vietnam vet, survivalist, prepper. I mean, I've been doing backcountry camping and fishing and hunting since I was 6. Which is what we did.
That's awesome.
It's all we did, man.
I dreamed about doing that.
I don't think he wanted to be around people.
Well, no.
So every weekend he was like, we're going.
Well, he probably, what did he do?
He was in the infantry.
He was so he saw some shit.
Oh, yeah.
He was obviously dealing with PTSD. It was just undiagnosed shit.
Yeah, nobody knew what to call it back then.
Yeah, they just told you if I could suck it up.
I don't think my dad went to a hospital for 40 years because he was so freaked out from the hospitals he saw in Vietnam. Wacky.
I bet the shit he saw. I can't even imagine. Those Vietnam guys saw some shit.
Yeah, anybody that's been in war, you have my respect. any first responder, any public servant. People are like, oh, Kip, you could have been in the military. No, I couldn't have. I didn't choose that path. That's not who I am. Like I'm not taking anything away from these people. Like, this is it, man. These people serve.
Special breed, man.
Yeah, it is. And if it was something, maybe I think I could do it. But the fact is I didn't do it and it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you wanted to come hunt out in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fun, whether it happens this year, but next year, like, dude, come hunt on the big truck farm. We got stud whitetail.
Dude, that's what I know it.
I've hunted, you know the area because when you live there with the Ravens.
People sleep on it.
We kill a couple 150s pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every year. Every year I was hunting. For the 2 years I was there, the deer I was hunting, none of them were under 150 inches.
We can literally...
The ones I killed were not 150 inches, but...
You'll get a kick out of this. We could literally be sitting in a tree stand and we can be watching people at the tap room at Big Truck and the bucks don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, now that we've had that like on the farm now for like 4 years, they have become accustomed to the noise, people coming and going.
Yeah.
So as long as we're back in the woods and we're in their travel pattern, it's funny. We can hear the band playing music and you could be drawing your bow.
That's
and
so
we'd be
badass.
drinking a beer within 5 minutes of you slaying it. So I say let's
I'm down. 1,000% would love to do that.
So in 2025, let's do a whitetail hunt.
Okay.
And then 26, you got the big hunt.
Yeah, we could do that for sure because this year I drew my Kansas tag this year.
I'm going to Kansas too. I drew a tag.
When?
Yeah. I don't know. 15th, 16th.
Okay, I'm going on the 8th.
Okay. Maybe mine's the same time. You might be right.
What do you know what part of Kansas you're gonna be in? Like southeast?
Southeast, south of Wichita.
Yeah, me too. I'll be in Independence.
Oh, cool. Who are you going with?
My buddy Doug Arnold has an outfit there.
Oh, my buddy Perry, he's an old timer, but he's a savage.
Yeah.
Him and Brandon Reistead are good buddies. Brandon Reistead, big farmer out in eastern Colorado, who I used to hunt mule deer with.
Giants out there.
Turned me on to this giant whitetail place. And so every other year I draw. So last year I didn't draw Kansas. This year
Yeah, same here.
But it's it's funny.
Look, I wish I'd have known that. We could have done that together.
I haven't. This will be my only hunt of the year.
Oh yeah, because you were in Alaska.
Hunt. I was working for moose and bear season, so that's it. I got a whitetail hunt.
We were talking about doing a hunt together in New Mexico last year.
I sold my tags this year to 2 guys, and they went 50%. And then I took my son on a muzzleloader hunt.
I know.
We had a blast.
I bet it was so much fun. Muzzleloader hunting is so fucking cool to me.
So this unit is a primitive weapon only.
Yeah.
And they have a early season, youth only, open sights muzzleloader. And I tell you what, I give my son credit. He's 14. He shot a 4x4 inch at 100 yards with the muzzleloader. I was like, dude, you're ready. I didn't even hit the square.
Yeah.
And we went out there. We got in. We only had 2 days. We could have killed a bull on our day, but it was scouting on Friday. It wasn't open yet. It opened on Sunday or Saturday. Dude, he saw a 360, 375 bull. We could have smoked it. And then the next day, bumped into some public hunters. They were screaming at night. They kind of moved off.
It was probably hot still.
Yeah, we got into him. We never got close enough to get a shot, but we had an absolute blast. It was his first time elk hunting.
Oh, if he was in Screaming Bulls, he's
I'm talking about
addict
pitch black at 5 a.m. bulls at like 35 yards screaming.
Yeah, rattling your chest.
Yeah.
I try to explain it to people, and I'm like, dude,
scared.
Oh yeah, it's like Jurassic Park, especially in New Mexico, man, because there are bulls everywhere. I got frustrated down there. I was in 34. That's where I hunted my first year of elk hunting was in unit 34. I did over the counter in Colorado just to cut my teeth because I felt like it's unfair for me to just jump into just book something and go down there and do it.
I don't know. I've been there 5.5, 6 years now. It's all DIY.
Yeah. Well, that's how I would like to do that.
Yeah.
That's why I just got a lease.
We can kill a good bull where I'm at. I get 3 to 5 landowner tags a year because now I've made relationships with them.
Oh, that's sweet.
so I don't have to draw.
Well, I just got a lease on the Western Slope.
Nice.
And a really good unit. It's over the counter.
Oh, good.
And there's giants in there.
Well, then I'll be coming
So
with you.
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say maybe next September.
So anybody who's listening is like, dude, we have to listen to Kip and Derek plan hunts.
Yeah.
I was like, well, get out there and plan it yourself.
You know, it's funny because I have a good friend who's a guide up in Wyoming.
Once.
I have a really good friend of mine. He's a guide up in Wyoming. It's Shoshone Outfitters. I'll give him a shout out. His name is Josh Martolio. He kills a ton
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he kills a ton of sheep. He's a great dude. He does a lot with Stone Glacier too. Like he's always raving about Stone Glacier stuff. But I asked him, I was like, dude, you go on all these hunts. Like what? He's like, I book them. And then now it's on the books and I have to go. I paid for it. I have to go now.
So I was 26 years old. I had no money. And I took 3 years to pay for my first brown bear tag. Back then,
how much were they back then?
I want to say it was 18.
That's so much money. You
yeah,
know? Like it's so much money. So
and it was the best. I mean, it was miserable. Which
means it was a great hunt.
It was an odd number year, so it was a fall hunt. So it was October and it got cold.
Oh, I bet.
So we didn't have a lot of luck the first time. This is a good hunting story. We didn't have a lot of luck. We were on a lake, weren't seeing a lot. We called the pilot, hey, move us to another lake so we can, try to find some bears. I think it had been 5 days. I hadn't seen anything. And the pilot picks us up in a beaver. I actually think it was a 180 on floats. Picks us up. And he's like, hey, man, you okay? I was like, yeah. And he's like, you're blue. He's like, you getting warm at night? I was like, I don't think my sleeping bag's rated enough for how cold it's been. I underestimated. And that dude saved my life. He goes, oh, I keep an extra bag in the back of the plane if I ever need it. Stranded, weather, blah, 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 blah. He hands me this bag. Of course, he's an Alaskan pilot. His bag's like a -60 bag.
Yeah.
And mine was like a 32-degree bag. It wasn't supposed to get that cold. I was looking at the weather. But in Alaska, you bump it down by 20 degrees because you never know what's going to happen. He literally gave me that bag. That was the first night I got sleep in 5 days because I was warm.
Yeah, because you were probably shivering.
And I didn't want to say a goddamn thing to that guide.
Yeah.
And the pilot said, dude, you're blue. My lips were blue. I wish phones were as accessible back then and social media. I would have taken a picture. I have some pictures from that hunt, but not many. I use those old disposable cameras. But that dude saved me. Yeah. So I'm pretty fanatic about my gear.
Well, that's what I was gonna. I wanted to get into that next because I'm the same way. Like I want the best. I want to make sure I got the right gear, especially for me because I'm big. So like boots, I can't just like go to the boot store and buy boots. You know?
Sizing for you is a big difference, especially with sleeping bags.
Yeah, and then if I don't fit in the sleeping bag, I'm not gonna stay warm. So it's got to be a long enough sleeping bag. The tent's got to be long enough, or it's all these things that have to go into it. It's just a different game. Yeah,
people have like trade-offs, right? Like some people are like, oh, dude, I carry 2 bottles of Tabasco, or oh, hey, I like this good shit paper. I carry extra that, or hey, you know what? I'm willing to hike in some Gatorade because I really want it. Everybody has their trade-off in the backcountry.
Yeah.
And it's weight.
Yep.
And it's what did it do for you that mentally was good for you? And so for me, an extra pillow, I'll pack the little blow-up pillows.
I do it too.
And I pack a super lightweight backcountry cot. I do not want to be on the ground. I always sleep on a backcountry cot. That is an extra 2.5, 3 pounds. I don't care where I'm going, how long. It is worth it to me. And every time I'm with someone who doesn't have one, I have a sleeping, an air pad, a sleeping bag, and my little backcountry cot. Oh, I'm actually designing my own cot right now because I think I can revolutionize the space. Not to have people jump in and steal my idea, but my design is dope. It's called Kip's Cot. And if I'm off the ground with a good pad, I sleep like a genius.
Yeah, the pad is everything, especially for my weight. I have to have a good pad.
Yeah, I have never. So your trade-off is you got to carry a heavy pad.
If I'm sleeping in a wall tent, I'll sleep on a cot, and I would love to have a cot. But if I'm sleeping in a tent, I just have never carried a cot with me because that's the other thing. These cots are not made for 6'6".
Yeah. So what's your weight?
290, 285.
Yeah. So my cot's rated for 300.
Yeah. So I'll be all right.
You'd be hanging off the end a little bit, but your body would be a lot more comfortable.
Well, I'm a side sleeper anyway, so I'll just be.
Yeah. Well, that's where the extra pillow comes from.
That's for my knees.
Yeah. Because your hips, it pinches your hips.
I have to have something in between my knees.
It's blood flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're the same as me. It's funny. But I find it's very funny. So I have a really great story. People that know Cam have probably heard this story. But I did one of my first elk backcountry hunts with Cam, I don't know, 10 years ago in Wyoming, high altitude, backcountry bow hunting. And his buddy Roy Roth, who passed away, unbelievable guy. Roy shows up like with no gear and like Snickers, peanut butter, Gatorade, shorts on, and we're in all the best gear. And the dude kills an elk by himself, packs it out by himself. And it taught me this. I'm fucking soft. Yeah. And I've gotten hard over the years, but I will never be as hard as Roy Roth. But I will strive every day to get there. But this, I mean, some people are just hard.
They're hard.
They can just go without.
Yep.
Steve Ranella wrote his little survival book or prepper book that I forget the name of it. And I think he's pretty wise to talk about the amount of stuff you bring in the wilderness is directly correlated to your confidence in the wilderness. You bring more when you're less confident.
Yeah.
Because you think it's going to matter and it doesn't.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. It's all about how there was a guy in BC. He's a sheep guide. And that country is fucking brutal. Like the rocks are brutal.
I've never gone on a sheep hunt, so I can't speak from experience, but I've hiked some steep shit.
Dude, it is. The rocks are brutal.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the right boots on,
you're done.
Like you're done. This guy was hunting sheep in muck boots.
Yeah. And, they do it all the time.
And I was like, why you're not wearing like mountain boots? He's like, nah, I don't like them. And he's like, I like these ones. They're like 2 sizes too big. And I'm like, dude, you're stepping those sharp rocks. Those do nothing. And he just like, he didn't care. He didn't care. He's like, his gear that he wore, he was wearing like a wool shirt and
hey man,
jeans. Like
I'm just telling you, when you think different. You're tough.
Yeah, go up there.
Go get a British Columbia guide or an Alaskan guide. They'll show you. We have some young kids that have impressed me, so.
I can't wait to get up there, man. I'm so excited about it. So let's talk. We talked about Bushwhack. Now let's talk about Big Truck because, this brand is just fucking
it's
unbelievable.
Fun, right?
It's something that I could tell you're like having fun with it, and it's you care about it. So, what has that been like?
It's been good. Yeah, we just had our haunted hayride. We crushed it. That right there is our half cab hazy. It's our #1 seller. We just have a really great team. My business partner and I, there she is, Beth. We just wanted to have a fun, family-oriented, not around binge drinking, not around like a bar scene, really an earn it mentality. I grew up with a dad that had work on a car, crack a beer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like belligerent drunk, right? And so I know it's a little bit weird because I'm a beer guy. I'm selling beer. I want you to go buy cases and cases of beer. But I don't condone like bad behavior because drinking. It's stupid.
It's dumb. Yeah.
Now, drinking responsibly, having a good time, sharing some spirits, cracking one at the end of a hunt. I mean, man, that's about as good as it gets.
Oh yeah, dude. After the pack out.
I mean, splitting wood and drinking a beer. I actually think heaven is that.
Yeah, me too.
So
I do.
And for me, it's a simple brand. It's recognizable. We have really good quality liquid. We grow grain and hops on the farm. Not all of our beer, not 100% of our production is our own because we can't make enough. We're now in 5 states. I want to be in all 50, but you got to earn it. Nobody needs another beer brand, dude. It's very competitive.
Yeah, that's.
And the
I have friends that are in a seltzer
keys.
brand, and they're like, dude, they have it's hard AF seltzer. My buddies at Drinking Bros.
Yeah, it's hard.
They said, dude, it's
a disaster,
a logistical nightmare.
Now, it's fun for me because we haven't been around for 20 years.
Right.
So we're not going up and down with the beer business. We're new. So we're still growing and we're like happy, but it is a fight to get distributors to pay attention. But I can tell you that our consumer and the consumers out there, they love our brand. They collect our cans. Every time we show up, it's great. It's the goddamn distributors that hold the keys.
Yeah.
You got to get them to sell your beer or the consumer will never see it.
You'll never see it.
It won't be in the store.
Well, because if you walk into if I walk into a liquor store to buy beer, if that's not there,
it could be the best brand ever.
Yeah.
It's not on shelf. It don't matter.
It's not on the shelf and they can't access it. Then it doesn't
so
matter.
It's
like that in all these industries. You know, I work with a brand called Black Buffalo.
Yeah.
They deal with the same thing, man. Like all these restrictions, they don't even have tobacco in their stuff. It's all like everything's natural. It's just because of the nicotine.
It's ruled by the ATF.
Exactly. Yeah. So they have to deal with all these hoops they got to jump through.
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearm by state, by region, by county, by township, it changes.
Yeah.
Some insane. Of it's like old bootlegger laws. You know, it's been a learning curve for me. This is not an industry that I came from. It's definitely kicked me in the nuts.
How did you get it? How did this happen? You know,
I just want to do something I didn't have any experience in.
So it was your idea?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just wanted to suffer.
Poured a lot of money into it, man. Like I built a tap room. We have a production facility.
It's expensive to brew your own beer.
No, man. Like it's expensive to be in business and say my standard is here. And I traveled all over the country and went to some of the best tap rooms in Portland and San Diego and Vermont. And I was like, I want Big Truck to be able to compete with any of them.
Yeah.
And I will say, if you get a chance or if anybody gets a chance, come to our tap room. It'll blow your mind.
And where's your tap room at?
It's in Parkton, Maryland. It's in northern Baltimore County. We're going to open up a second location on the eastern shore of across the Bay Bridge. But really my goal is, there it is right there. Really, there's the hop fields.
Are you serving food there?
Yeah, we got food. We got food trucks.
So is this like a concept that you're...
I will never do this again. It's not feasible. But I want to bring
how many acres is there?
It's on 265
Oh, yeah,
acres.
that's not...
But I want to open up tap rooms in really cool, like, in areas that Big Truck matters.
Right on the corner of that field right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just set a tree stand up right over there.
This is cool. I forgot I had this on the website.
Just do a little... I'm scouting for deer hunting right now, so... because it looks so good. That big timber right there is just a perfect... Look at that.
Oh, that right there. I killed a nice... I snuck up on a nice buck with a kicker right in that backwoods.
Yeah, we're hunting. If that invite's open, I'm coming. I'll come.
Well, we have an archery course. We have a 2.2 mile archery course that winds through there. So we have a 3D course.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, we do it once or twice a month in the summer, and then we shut it down for deer season.
I tried to do that this year at my property up in Fairplay, and they threw so many regulations and red tape at me. I couldn't get insured. It was just insane. Park County.
It took us 3 years to open the place, but now that we're open, things have been going pretty well.
How many visitors do you think? How many client or
about
customers?
80,000 people a year will visit my tap room.
Damn, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, we packed on the weekend.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have live music and stuff like? Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a vibe.
It's a venue.
Yeah, it's cool. A vibe. It's like an event. Like you go there and hang out for the weekend.
I read an article, did a bunch of research. One of the things that stuck out about a tap room is really the goal for a tap room is getting a customer to stay from an hour and a half to 2. During that time, they go from 1.5 beers to 4.
Yeah.
And that helps your profit.
Yeah.
Right. And
it's 50% more.
Yeah. So really want an environment where people feel comfortable. They want to stay. They want to hang out. There's stuff to do. You know, they're not just like in and out. And so our average consumer is like 4.5 hours, 5 hours.
So
almost.
you're there. It's an all day thing.
Yeah. So people come, they hang out. And even like when it snows, like other breweries like shut down. I'm like, we open up, we put fire pits out and we let kids sled.
Yeah. People love, that's awesome.
Yeah.
People love that.
Yeah.
You have a couple beers where the kids are just ripping down the hill. It's great.
I think I could open up tap rooms all over the country and be successful. I think the thing that I'm struggling and I want help with by hiring good people and getting good distributors is I need people to distribute my beer.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get out west. I'm trying to get into Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. I want to go into like Tennessee, Kentucky. Like it's all about the distribution, man. And we're mainly with Bud distributors. We have a couple non-Bud guys, but the Budweiser guys, they're great because they have a lot of power. They sell a lot of beer. They have a lot of influence on the retailers and the chain accounts, but they're also got Budweiser basically saying sell the Bud products.
Yeah.
So it's a love-hate relationship for sure.
It's tough.
It is tough.
It's really tough. It's tough to start. I mean, starting any business is tough, especially in the alcohol, any kind of beverage. It's crazy because you're working in like you chose like the hardest things to like be successful at.
Apparel and footwear sucks.
Footwear
and beverage sucks. And I think probably guide and outfitting sucks. So
what now? Let's talk. Well, yeah. Well, guiding and outfitting is, people.
I'm not that intelligent.
Yeah, but it's you work hard enough. You work hard enough to figure it out. And that's.
Got to look at the balance sheet. Got to understand where you make.
That's
the money.
where people they are not willing to work. I always you can keep saying this. They're not willing to like work on the day, like work through the days when people are taking days off or to sacrifice. I
think it's this consumerism that we're stuck in.
Yeah.
It's buy new, Amazon, buy. Well, what comes with that is instant gratification. Mm-hmm. And I think the longevity, and I had a conversation with a small business owner, a super bright kid. I think he's going to do really well. He wanted to start a business. I'm like, cool. You got 8 years? That's my rule.
Yeah.
I'm 4 years into it. There's no guarantee Big Truck's going to win.
Yeah.
I got to get to 8.
Yeah.
I got to get to 8. Bushwhack. Cool. It's my first year. Got to get to 8. At 8 years, I believe you learned enough. You understand. You weathered. You rejiggered, reconfigured, learned. And then year 8, you're like, damn, I'm actually hitting my stride here.
Yeah. It's actually working.
It's not a lot. I don't think it's that different than real estate.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're not willing to wait 8 years, then you're just like, so I think this like consumerism has people, they want it too fast.
They're impatient.
Yeah. I think I spent 21 years at Under Armour, man.
Yeah. It's a long time. I mean, that's a long time. It's a lot of work and a lot of ups and downs.
Imagine being at the Broncos for 21 years.
I can imagine.
Well, one, you'd be dead because your body would be screwed,
dead.
But
I would be walking, but
it's just.
Well, I think about that with like, Tom Brady was in New England for 21 years.
That's nuts.
Like he was.
I've met Tom a few times. He was an Under Armour athlete.
Unbelievable.
I think he still is. I'm not sure, but he's a super nice guy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable just competing against him was just crazy.
Tenacity to stay the course.
It doesn't matter. We were up 20. One time we were in Foxborough, we were up 21-0. I was like, oh, we're about to, and I hit him it was cold as like, how cold it gets up there.
Oh yeah.
It was in like November and I hit him. It was a night game. I hit him. It was raining. I hit him so hard and we hit the ground and it was like kind of icy and like, I know he felt it and dude, he came back and beat us. and I always think it's because like when I hit him like that, it like lit a fire because he got mad. It like made him mad. So then he just like, dude, he couldn't miss. Like every pass he threw was just completed. Like I was like, how are they coming back? It came down to the wire and he ended up kicking a field goal and beating us. And I was just like, how?
Isn't that crazy?
At half, we were up 21-0.
That's nuts.
And it just 21 unanswered points like that.
Some people got it, man. They were made for it.
Yeah, that's why he has 7 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's been to 10.
Yeah.
Think about that.
He's a GOAT.
He as many years. Imagine if I went to a Super Bowl every year I played in the NFL.
If anybody's looking to like change their fitness, he wrote a book and about like longevity, fitness, health, nutrition, lifting.
Oh,
I forget the name of it, but I read it front to back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's legit good.
He does. There's a lot of stuff he doesn't eat because, I really I started reading
He's
into
a smart guy.
I started reading into vegetables, right? So, a lot of these vegetables are just bullshit. Like these green vegetables, it's all bullshit. Like you don't really need like broccoli. I've been eating broccoli and asparagus forever. It does nothing.
Well,
it does nothing. It's a waste of time. It's harder for your body to digest it, actually.
Yeah.
So like peppers, green peppers, and
well,
yellow
and I think
peppers.
it's also like everybody's a little different too, right? So you got to understand which foods agree with you or not.
Right. Go get your blood. I always encourage people to get their blood work done.
I'm on it right now. So I did 2 companies, Functional Health and a company that Natalie Marie is sponsored by called Transcend. And I just did both. And it's like, I just went 4 times, gave like 29 samples of blood. It's the first time I've ever done this. You know, I'm not on anything significant. So I'm like 52. I'm like, hey man, I'm no Olympic athlete. If there's a drug out there that I can take to make me better, I'm taking it.
Oh yeah.
Like, so I've just got it all done. I'm just starting to get some of the results. So I'm pretty excited to see.
Are you doing any like TRT, any of that stuff?
I did a little bit for a while. I've stopped it. So I wanted to get these blood tests done and kind of relook at it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't started taking it yet because my levels are still.
Well, you're good, dude. I'm
still like my levels are still like 900. So
we'll switch. We can switch testosterone.
Yeah, no thanks.
Give me
no.
I think
thanks.
I think I just got my test. I think I had 2 different because they both tested it. I think one was 215 and one was 515. So they were 2 separate tests.
That's pretty good. And then I bet when you're on like because when you're like 18, 19, 20 years old, your test levels are like 750 to 900, somewhere in there. Like,
talk about a crazy industry. Big money.
It's huge money. I work with a good company here. It's called Revitalized Health. So anybody in Colorado, Revitalized Health, these guys they were former doctor. They, the guy that runs the show, he was a doctor. So he isn't just some swinging dick that just was like, oh, I'm going to sell testosterone. He does it the right way. And I told him, I was like, look, dude, I don't want to take TRT because once you take TRT, you have to keep taking TRT.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah. That's what my wife says. My wife was in the fitness industry forever. So she's like, anybody that stops taking it, your body's it's testosterone replacement therapy. Yeah. So it's replacing your natural testosterone.
I mean, the health industry is crazy, man. The stuff people are putting out there, it's very hard to navigate.
Well, yeah.
So you got to really find someone you trust.
Well, forever, these cosmetic places did like, Botox and all this other shit for, lip injections and all this stuff. Now men are starting to like,
yeah, it's real.
There's a need for it. Like men, they want to take care. They want to look good and feel good too,
Dude, I don't give a fuck what I look like.
I just feel good.
I want these legs.
Yeah, I want to feel good.
I want these legs and my back to be able to like pack out and not be on a long hike and everybody look back and be like, why is Kip last?
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was telling you for a while, I had a problem with my artery. And I struggled to I did all the stuff everybody did, but I was never the first person.
Yeah.
I was always lagging.
Well, it's funny because, you talk about packing through the mountains, just hiking through the mountains is a pure, like, I don't care how much you train, how much you work out, how much you eat, how much you train, all that shit. It doesn't matter. It was I always took it in the football approach. The only way to get in shape for football is to play football.
You got it.
The only way to get in shape for hiking mountains is to hike the mountains.
Why do you think these guides are so good? Because
they're unbelievable.
They do it all day long.
And that's why, like, now when I train to hike the mountains, I just go hike the mountains.
Yeah. Well, you're in Colorado. I try a little bit we have enough up and down in Maryland, but
you don't have the altitude.
Yeah, we don't have the altitude. We don't have the vertical climb. And so I got to augment it with other stuff. You got to do these HIIT workouts where they just crush you. And, I would say the first couple of days in the mountains, I feel it, but I feel like I'm quick to acclimate. That's always been my thing anywhere I've done that. I've been really good fitness, but even if I'm not great, it only takes me a couple of days.
Yeah. That's how, it's funny because my camera guy, unbelievable guy, he's Okie, his name's Levi Mayfield. Because I film all my hunts. Yeah. I like it's funny because I started filming them because I want to be able to see where my shot went.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'd like to capture it, and I like to share it with people. And all it does is cost me money. It's not like I make any money doing this stuff. It does make it so I can write some of this shit off. So it's nice. But
it is nice to write it off.
It is nice to write some of this stuff off.
I will say I'll be writing off some bear hunts in the future.
Oh yeah. It's great because you know. And then
what is he? Is he pretty savage though? Is he?
But he's like he's just a blue collar hillbilly from Oklahoma, dude. He does not.
Why are those guys so strong?
He doesn't train. He's tiny. He doesn't train, but dude, he'll put 180 pounds on his back and he'll go to the truck, drink a beer, and come back and try to take something off my back.
Always those guys.
And I'm like, dude, I hate you. Like,
There's always those guys.
Get away from me. No, you're not taking anything off my back. I'll be damned if somebody ever takes something off
about
me.
The farm boys.
Oh, dude, he's just, you know, I lived on a farm in high school, and that's where I learned how to work hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there is no option.
Oh, we have really cool stories. So we had a do-it-yourself group of moose hunters this year. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but they own a very well-known dairy farm that you would go into grocery stores and you would see their milk. And it was a father-son. Do it yourself. They didn't buy a guided hunt. I know they can afford it.
Yeah.
Because I just said their milk is in every grocery store. I think the son was maybe 40. The dad was maybe 70. These guys were savages. The dad was an absolute savage. He's been a milk farmer his whole life. This guy was tough as nails and helped pack out this moose. I think he's 72. I mean, he's tall, he's fit. I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah.
I
believe it, man. These farm guys are great. The guy that I lived on the farm with that owned the farm, his name is Herman. We called him Rawhide. Mm-hmm. One time we were calving and this calf kicked him in the fingers. And his fingers all just like went sideways, like all of them. He just didn't even say a word. He just grabbed him and straightened him up and kept working. He was in a skid steer one time and he tipped the bucket back, and he had the gate open and he tipped the bucket back and a cinder block fell on his shin. Oh, and I was like, Hutch just broke his leg, and he just kept working. He like grabbed the cinder block and threw it back in the bucket and kept working. Yeah, and then limped around for like 6 months, and then
there's always someone tougher.
I'm like, dude, he had a bullet hole in his stomach. He got shot one time. He's just insane. Like, this guy's tough as hell. Hey, everybody. This episode is brought to you by Black Buffalo. Black Buffalo's nicotine pouches do not contain tobacco leaf or stem. What they do contain is a ton of flavor, and they're packed with pharmaceutical-grade nicotine. The magic of Black Buffalo is they discovered a way to make cured edible green leaves behave like the texture of tobacco. And they add food-grade ingredients for industry-classic flavors. You're in good company if you roam with the Black Buffalo herd. The business was built by dippers with decades of smokeless tobacco use. They manufacture their tobacco alternatives with respect for those products that came before them. Bold flavors, full pouches, metal lids, and a brand that stands for something: American. Their products are also proudly endorsed by brand ambassadors such as MMA Hall of Famer Cowboy Cerrone, NASCAR champion Brian Blaney, rising country star Larry Fleet, and Rob O'Neill, former U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6. So if you're 21 and older and you consume nicotine or tobacco and you want to join the Black Buffalo herd, head over to blackbuffalo.com to learn more. You can order nicotine pouches online, and they ship directly to most states. Or you can check out their store locator to purchase pouches at thousands of retail locations around the country. Black Buffalo, an American brand, pouches worth respect.
I do think the human spirit, you know, I know we've been on for a while, and that's an interesting way to maybe end it. It's like that human spirit, because I keep looking at your sign. My eyes keep drifting to Wolfe Untamed. The human spirit's wild, man.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's also a really detrimental. I think it's in all of us.
Yeah, it is.
You got to find a way to unlock it. I don't know what your key is to unlock it, and everybody's key might be different, you know, but the human spirit's wild, man. I mean, there's war-torn countries right now. There's poverty. There's, there's abuse. There's all kinds of crazy, and people persevere and they get through it.
Yeah.
And to me, that I wish we could all realize that that's the common thing that we could all rally around.
Yeah.
You know, because we got an election coming up and people are wacky.
Oh, it's insane.
But I just wish we could all realize that we're all just coming from that same human spirit.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish that we could all come together for like as Americans, right? Like, hey, we're Americans. Let's like come together as Americans.
We can agree to disagree, but
yeah,
we're American.
That's the best part of America is that we're allowed to have opposing views. And that's why we have an election. And then now whoever wins the election, it's like, okay, great. You know, it's only 4 years. Like 4 years is nothing. you know,
Yeah.
but a lot of damage could be done in 4 years too, though.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, look
when you
when
you get multiple back to back administrations that run off the same consensus or the same type of leadership, it can be really damaging.
And I'll leave it here, because when it comes to like the politics of shit, the federal government makes me fucking crazy because we pay them so much money. The amount of, I know you've paid a ton of taxes.
Hey, so have you.
They took 50% of my check every year for 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And then now I live off those dividends that I made. Then they tax that too.
Yep.
And then when I buy something, they tax that. It's just nonstop being taxed. And then
what do you get for it?
What do you get for it? You get nothing.
We got a pretty safe country, but that's changing pretty quick.
It's changing real fast. Colorado is not safe anymore. The Colorado that you remember, the Colorado that was here when I first moved here, the Colorado from even like 4 years ago it's not here anymore. It's dangerous here now. Really, it's dangerous. Like, it's not.
You got to watch your back.
Like, it's not like, it is like Baltimore dangerous. Seriously, it is. It's like Cincinnati dangerous. It is.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never thought Denver that way.
No, never. You used to be able to go downtown, leave your truck unlocked, leave your keys right on the top, and nobody would do a thing.
No, Denver was always it never was the same as some of these other cities. That's kind of the nature of these cities. It just attracts the wrong crowd.
Well, when you have a border that's completely open,
yeah, well, you're guys
just gonna have criminals.
Yeah, you know, it's funny being in the Northeast, and when you travel to some of the Southeast and Midwest, and you guys in the West here, you see it.
Yeah, it's
noticeable.
It's definitely noticeable.
Yeah.
But hey, man, thank you so much for coming on,
bro. This is the best podcast I've done. This
really?
is legit.
Thank you, man. It's
easy to talk to. Sometimes you talk to people, it's tough.
Yeah, some guys are not easy to talk to. I think
this is awesome.
I was really looking forward to this one too. So like, I'm really glad that you enjoyed yourself, and I can't wait to do the post hunt podcast that we do, because
that's going to be the best,
and it's going to be a really good. We're going to make a good film out of it too. It's going to be, because I like to do one long form film every year.
Yeah.
So that'll be the long form film I do that year. Is
Alaskan moose. You picked a good one.
Alaskan moose and grizzly. Hopefully we can get a wolf tag in pocket too.
You can have all that.
Yeah. So, because I'd love to have a wolf.
If it's a tag, put it. Wolf is like don't even eat it.
You just shoot them.
Yeah. You'll probably shoot that with the guide's gun.
Well, yeah, we'll shoot them with a gun.
Yeah.
Good luck with a bow.
Yeah.
It happens.
It has happened, but it's very, very rare.
Yeah, I don't count on that.
Yeah, no. They usually.
That's the thing. I'm not the stubborn bow hunter that's like, I'm never pulling my gun out. Like, no,
Hey, man, what I tell people about hunting is just do whatever makes you feel great.
Exactly, man. Don't
worry about what people say about you.
That's a good point, because there's too much infighting, right? Because we talked earlier about like the hunting industry and how it's like all these egos and stuff. And then we have this other side that's like, the anti-hunting organizations are well funded.
Yeah.
I mean, they have billions of dollars, hundreds of millions to billions of dollars backing them. They are coordinated.
Yeah,
we're fighting over what broadhead we should shoot. You know, we're arguing over, you shoot a crossbow.
Or you're not a real bow hunter because you pulled out a gun at the end.
Exactly. Who cares? I got the animal down.
Well,
like, I like to me, it's about, that's an ego. That's ego getting in the way. And by the way, my goat, I shot my goat with my bow, and I had to finish him with a rifle because I didn't want him to fall down this canyon. And I was like, I'm not sure how well I hit him, so I'm going to shoot him with a rifle just to make sure. Because why would I want that? Why would I want to take the chance of losing that animal?
My grandfather said, "You can't take the money to the grave. They don't bury anybody with you. So why do you give a shit?"
Exactly.
It's your life, man.
It's your life, man. Do it. And you're on a hunt. Like, I'm always going to start with a bow, but I'm not afraid to pull a rifle out. Like, I'm just starting to get the reason why I didn't before is because I wasn't confident with a rifle.
Yeah.
Like, I was not confident in shooting anything with a rifle because I was like, dude, I don't shoot guns. Like,
oh man,
we grew up in Ohio. We weren't even allowed to. We weren't allowed to use a rifle.
Yeah, we had shotguns in Maryland.
Yeah, we used slugs.
Yeah.
350 Legend in Maryland.
There you go, baby.
Dude, I will not stress this enough, because Maryland was that reignited my love for hunting when I went to Baltimore.
It's a good hunting state.
It reignited my love for it because I loved it as a kid. I shot my first deer with a bow when I was 13.
Yeah.
And obviously football just takes up all that fall time is taken up by football. And I get like a whitetail hunt in every now and then. If I had a bye week that fell in the right time, I'd pop into Ohio real quick and just shoot the first buck that walked by.
Yeah.
Shoot a doe or a buck, whatever, But when I was in Baltimore, it was COVID. And we were doing all our meetings virtual. Every meeting I did was from a tree stand. And you get unlimited doe tags.
Oh yeah,
because they're like rats out there. They're everywhere.
My farm's got 100.
I can't wait to come. I'll be there next year, brother.
It's an open invite.
Yeah, I'll be there next year. We'll make it. It'll be so much fun.
Dude, thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming, man.
Awesome.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening to the Wolfe Untamed podcast. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, DerekWolfe_95. Check out the Wolfe Untamed podcast on YouTube. You can listen on all the other platforms, as well as DerekWolfe.com.